The rain hit my face like tiny knives that night. I stood on the porch, suitcase at my feet, clothes already soaked through. My mother's voice still rang in my ears, sharp, final, cold as the wind whipping around me. You're choosing him? That worthless mechanic? Then get out. Don't come back until you've learned what real life costs. The door slammed so hard the frame shook. I was 21. And just like that, I had nowhere to go. I remember the weight of the suitcase handle cutting into my palm as I dragged it down the wet sidewalk. My phone screen glowed in the dark texts from Alex, my boyfriend, asking if I was okay. I couldn't answer. Not yet. The streetlights blurred through my tears. How could the woman who raised me throw me away over love? Alex wasn't rich, but he was kind. He fixed cars all day and still made time to fix my broken days. Mom called him a loser, said I was repeating her mistakes. I didn't understand then. I just knew the cold was sinking into my bones, and every step took me farther from the only home I'd ever known. For 2 weeks I bounced between friends' couches and the back seat of my beat-up car. Showers at the gym, meals from dollar menus. Every night the same question haunted me. What now? Then, scrolling late one sleepless night, I saw it. A listing for a Victorian house, 2 hours outside the city. Built in 1897. Needs total renovation. Starting bid, $1. One single dollar. The photos showed cracked windows, ivy choking the walls, and a porch that looked ready to collapse. Most people scrolled past. I stared. A roof. 4 walls. A door with a lock that would be mine. No more begging for a place to sleep. I wired my last $300. Filled out the paperwork online. And 2 days later, the keys were in my hand. I didn't even inspect it. I just needed to stop running. The drive there felt like crossing into another life. Trees closed in around the narrow road. When I pulled up, the house rose out of the dusk like a ghost, tall, dark, and waiting. Paint peeled in long curls. The front door creaked like it was sighing in relief. Inside smelled of damp wood and forgotten years. Dust floated in the thin beams of my flashlight. I dragged my suitcase to the only room, with a mattress someone had left behind, curled up in my coat, and whispered to the empty walls, "We're home now." The first week was pure survival. I swept rat droppings, scrubbed black mold from the kitchen tiles until my hands bled. At night, the house groaned, pipes knocking, floorboards whispering, wind finding every crack. Sometimes I heard footsteps upstairs when I knew I was alone. I told myself it was just the old wood settling. Alex drove out every weekend, tools in his truck, and we worked side by side. He never complained. He'd kiss my forehead, hand me a hammer and say, "We'll make it beautiful, baby." One nail at a time. His love felt like the only warm thing left in my world. Then the discoveries began. While prying up rotten floorboards in the parlor, I found a small metal box wedged between joists. Inside were yellowed letters, tied with a faded blue ribbon. The handwriting was my mother's younger, softer, full of hearts and promises. "My dearest Robert," the first one began, "I dream about the life we'll build in this very house." My stomach dropped. Robert. I had never heard the name. More letters. Photos. A young version of my mom laughing in this exact front yard. Arms around a tall, gentle-looking man with kind eyes and paint-splattered overalls. Robert had been an artist and carpenter. They were engaged. They lived here together for almost a year. Then the letters stopped. The last one was dated the month before I was born. It ended with 3 words. "I'm so sorry." I sat on the dusty floor for hours, reading every word until my eyes burned. Mom had loved this man. Really loved him. But her parents hated that he was poor. They introduced her to my father, wealthy, ambitious, cold. She left Robert, left this house, left the life they planned. I felt sick. All those times she screamed at me about Alex. She wasn't protecting me. She was protecting her secret shame. I kept digging. In the attic, behind a false panel in the wall, I found Robert's journal. Page after page of quiet heartbreak. He never stopped loving her. He stayed in this house hoping she'd come back. Then, one entry made my hands shake so hard I dropped the book, dated 8 months after I was born. Karen came by today. She brought the baby. My baby. She begged me not to tell anyone. Said her husband would ruin us both. I held my daughter for 10 minutes and promised I would always watch over her, even if she never knows my name. I was his, not my father's. Robert had known the truth. He had raised me from a distance the only way he could by keeping this house and quietly paying the taxes so it would never be lost. When he passed away last year, the bank auctioned it for $1 just to clear the books. He had left a handwritten note tucked in the back of the journal, addressed to me. If you ever find this, Lily, know the house is yours. A home when the world takes everything else. I loved you before you took your first breath. The world tilted. Everything I thought I knew cracked open. My mother had lied to me my entire life. She kicked me out the moment I chose a man like Robert, poor, honest, real, because she couldn't bear to watch history repeat. She was terrified I would learn the truth and hate her for choosing money over love. I called her that same night, voice trembling. She answered on the second ring. When I told her what I'd found, the silence was so complete, I thought the line had died. Then she started crying deep, ugly sobs I had never heard from her. She drove out the next morning. We stood in the half-fixed parlor, dust still swirling, and for the first time, she told me everything. How scared she had been. How my father had threatened to destroy Robert if the truth ever came out. How she had spent 21 years trying to bury the guilt. Alex arrived while we were talking. He saw my mother's red eyes and my tear-streaked face and simply wrapped his arms around both of us. No questions. Just steady, quiet love, the same kind Robert once gave my mom. We finished the house together. Slowly, painfully, beautifully. The creaks became friendly. The wind, through the eaves, sounded like a lullaby. Every room holds a piece of the past now, but also a future. My mother visits on weekends. She and Alex plant flowers in the front yard where she once stood with Robert. Sometimes I catch her touching the old banister with gentle fingers, whispering things I pretend not to hear. I still don't have much money, but I have a home that chose me back. I have a love that stayed through the storm, and I have a truth that set me free. If you're out there right now, kicked out, broken, staring at a cheap house listing that looks impossible, take the chance. Sometimes the place that looks like the end is actually the beginning. Sometimes the family that hurts you the most is hiding the love you were always meant to find. I was lost in the rain. Now I'm home. And the house. The house knew my name all along. If you're out there right now, kicked out, broken, staring at a cheap house listing that looks impossible, take the chance. Sometimes the place that looks like the end is actually the beginning. Sometimes the family that hurts you the most is hiding the love you were always meant to find.